Everyone, in this video I'm going to be covering some steps to success with regards to gaining those key qualifications and certifications within the world of cyber. These are simple steps to get you to success and immerse yourself within that environment to guarantee you get that passing mark and then that you can claim that you're certified within that area. Let's go. As you can see here, this is the certifications and qualifications that I've achieved during my journey. It's many years of work, to get to this point, but also what we don't see behind the scenes is the failures along the way. Not with each exam, quite a few have passed first time through, but there's fails behind this, and there's many hours of study and weeks of sort of working towards the qualifications, but also gaining technical expertise within a project or within my working area to achieve that level of qualification, ensuring I get an eventual pass on that. I've tried to spread them as far as I can through the years, keeping myself broad as well as sort of specifically within the networking area, which is my sort of area of expertise. So yesterday morning, I passed the AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner, and I'm going to tell you the steps that I use to ensuring that I pass that correctly. So step one for the success is know your learning type and ensure that you use that as part of your process. So I know I quite like to be in a classroom, interact with different people and see how they're doing it and sort of take notes and sort of I learn through conversation. So that moves on to sort of audio and interactive. I'm also quite visual and very practical. So for each of these um, certifications, I've always backed it up by a project, which I'll be covering off in a minute. So I need, if it's technical, to cover that off within a project or my own working area. Step two, I choose a course provider. So if that's going to be a physical in-person course, face-to-face instructor, normally in a class of probably 3 to 8 people, depending on how popular the course is at the time. Obviously, that can implement with a financial cost. But if you need that as a part of your learning process, then you can do that. So I've used a couple of training providers previously. Blue Screen IT, really good. Loads of very technical and cybersecurity related courses there, and Firebrand as well. I've sort of dipped into them with regards to one of the courses, but they're quite expensive, but they deliver a full all-in-one package and sort of like a boot camp orientated. You're accommodated there, then you get your food, and then you can be studying effectively 12 hours a day. But along with that, choosing your correct provider, obviously making sure they're near you. If not, then you have to book accommodation, but also using the extra hours in the day. So I might, with Blue Screen IT, studied sort of 9 till 5, but then I might have gone home and recovered off either what we've done that day or prep for the next day. So what you want to be doing is before you hit that exam is ensuring that you're ready and almost hungry for it and maybe even slightly overtrained, and then you can go on from that exam to the next level up. So step three, steps to success, is choosing your preferred video series. So obviously some video series have got better ones with regards to different topics. So for some examples there, because I wanted to be specific as I can. So like CBT Nuggets, use that for my studies when I was completing my ccnas, 2 of them, and then we got awarded the Big Beast, and then I completed that exam. But along with that, also used sort of the videos from Jeremy, Keith Barker, and Network Chuck to develop myself further. Then also the videos that I supply as well, so the Cybercore Skills course. You can get on that for virtualization, networking, Linux, and blue teaming, stuff like that. So choose your video series and choose what's better for you. So even whether you like a monotone sort of accent or whether you like voice flexions, driven enthusiasm, depending on what speed the videos go as well, whether you want 10-minute videos or whether you're willing to gruel a sort of 1 hour, 2 hour videos based on certain topics. So choose your video series for you. Can't recommend CBT Nuggets enough. Can't recommend my own channels enough. Check them out. So moving on. So step number 4 is choosing the supporting materials and books that are mapped to the course and making sure that you're all over them. So for each exam, there's an exam specification, normally comes in a form of a PDF. So for CompTIA or ISE Squared or Cisco, they all come with an exam PDF. And what's with the exam specifications, whatever's on that is going to be in the exam. So prior to sitting the exam, make sure that's printed off on the wall, tick them off when you're confident with each of the topics. Normally, along with the official documentation and and textbooks for each of the courses that you're doing, whether it's the associated CCNA handbook or guide, for example. There's also all-in-one series, which usually do a book for each qualification. They're really good just as a last brush up as well, just to ensure that you captured all knowledge with regards to the exam specifications. So the exam specification is going to be the first and the last thing you look at prior to booking that. Step 5 for success is get yourself in a community, whether it's multiple or just one. So I use Discord to connect with different people who are studying the same sort of qualifications or technologies as myself. Really good example of this is Certification Station. So they cover loads of different exams, whether it's CCNA, ISACA with CISM, or cloud technologies, and getting on that is really good. Also, there's Cyber Mentor Dojo. There's always mentors or mentorees available to ask advice, and people who are often qualified or a lot more qualified than we are, and or even ourselves. But the case is, no matter what level you are, you're always studying for something new. So everyone's always reaching for the next available qualification level. So step 6 is getting on a practice exam. This will be used to get to know the wording of the exams and how they work. Key thing there in red, as you can see, is do not use exam dumps. It's cheating, and they don't help anyone, so they don't help you prove your knowledge. They don't help you prove that you can actually do the job, which eventually when you do hit interviews and you're pulling out the qualifications, you're only seeing yourself off and giving yourself sort of a lower level of achievement. So don't use exam dumps. And also they are considered cheating, and if the certain exam vendors find out, they will remove your qualifications based on that knowledge. So don't use them. But there are some practice exams based out there and you'll usually find them from either your course providers or your video series will provide you some sample questions, but they won't be the ones from the exam dump, for example. So step 7 is get on a blog or get on a podcast. So tune in. Looking at blogs around the topic that you're on, whether it's about current news or current affairs within that area, the same as you can get from podcasts, or whether it's a blog related to someone who's recently sat the qualification, you can just make sure that your procedures and your what you've learned so far and whether there's any better references you can come through. So ones that I've used is for blogs is Medium, and for a podcast specifically, if it's relating to sort of more GRC, your governance risk and management, I listen to Risky Business podcast. So there's loads of different podcast providers out there. You can choose which one's best for you or how you're going to access it. So it'll also, a lot of the time when you're coming across these blogs or podcasts, it'll come out with a lot of new lingo, whether it's for example AWS Mackie was one of the services that I didn't hear of, but I came across it on a podcast that then I literally Googled and researched it, and then that little bit of knowledge then helped me towards one of my exams. So learning through attrition. So if you consume yourself within the environment and listen to podcasts as well as the course, as well as a technical project, which we'll cover, you'll learn a lot more and enrich yourself, and you'll have wider knowledge ultimately, and it will push you further on. So step 8, if it's a technical certification, pick a technical project that will back up that learning. So people say you learn by doing. So if, for example, when it comes to my AWS Cloud Practitioners examination, I had a little project which I wanted to host a EC2 instance, VM in the cloud, Docker, and basically build a website environment and a CTFD type complex for a CTF that I was hosting. So I used that instance and built it and put security around it and storage and sort of then redundancy, made sure it is in multiple areas and regions. But a part of that, the knowledge that I gained from troubleshooting and it not working and finding out how to get it working, I used in the exam, and also with each question that came through that I encountered because of that technical project made me smile inside a little bit. I sort of, maybe the Pearson VUE person watching the exam was wondering why I was grinning so much, but because I had experienced it practically, I knew I had the confidence to sort of answer that one. And that is the best feeling when you've met the When you've met the question or the challenge in real life experience, or you troubleshooted your way through that, then you definitely know it. So as soon as you've met it and had enough vigor and hit the technical project and almost completed it or near completion, make sure that's when you should hit step 9, is booking that exam well in advance, but do book it. A lot of the times people do study and don't book the exam. So book it, right hand mark. So normally a lot of the exams aren't exceptionally high. So recently just obviously AWS Cloud Practitioner was about £120. So I booked that exam uh, 4 weeks out, and that was while I was doing my technical project. I had just started, but I needed a right hand marker to start working towards that. So that's when I literally got on Google, typed in Pearson VUE AWS, clicked on it, signed in with my account, and then booked the exam, paid for it. And then if you're not ready, 24 hours, you can cancel or move it right, but you've got to do it within 24 hours before. So making sure that you can either do them in person or remote as well. They're really flexible, and Pearson VUE seem to be the sort of bread and butter that every exam vendor uses at the moment. And I really, apart from my CH, that's the exam provider that I've used for all of them, and 99% of them now you can do remote. The big thing is, out of all those steps, enjoy the process. So if you're fighting against the knowledge and you find it's not going in the right way, maybe you're not using the right method. So go back and look at whether you do need a community to egg you on, or there's people to discuss. You can, if you are troubleshooting, and it could be a Cisco related one, there's Cisco related Discord channels. So go back to the community and ask the questions. There's always going to be someone there that knows, but also can assist, and you can screen share on Discord, and you can get involved in additional training. So yeah, there's always a community there to support, and that will keep you on track. And I always sort of declare what I'm doing. So on Certification Station, I'll choose the relevant channel and say I've got my exam in 3 weeks, and it sort of puts that added pressure onto you to get it complete. So once you've done all that and you've come out and achieved the pass mark, which the pass mark will be said on the exam specification, we talk about the after of the success. Enjoy the success that you've had. Don't just move straight on to the next thing. Use that for your own build up. So step 1 for after your success is accept your badge. So Credly is a website which I'll just bring over now. So this is a website which you should get an email after you've achieved your certification. So this was only literally yesterday. So you can you sign in with your same email address you provided when you do the exam. You can download your badge, which obviously I copy and paste it onto my exam bar or the qualification bar. But effectively, you can see all the other badges that you've achieved. So if you go view badges, and then you can see effectively through all that which badges you've achieved. Obviously, it becomes a bit of a collection after a point, but ensure that you acknowledge the badge and get it on Credly. Then after that, update your CV and resumes, and then post on LinkedIn if that's what you're sort of wanting to make it more worthwhile, if you're job hunting especially. Update any certification bar. That's what I've done this morning, and that's my little procedure to make myself rewarding. And once it's on there, I know I've earned it, so it's good. The third step is really reflect on your success and support others if you can. So especially because it's so current in your mind, you know what's going to be in the exam. Don't tell what's in the exam, because that's also against the agreement of you taking the exams. But you can either write a blog about what you've done to show your success on Medium or whatever sort of platform you're there, or you can say, like, if it's OSCP or EJPT or PMPT, for example, and it's a sort of Red Hat sort of uh, orientated exam, then you can say what boxes aided you to prepare for the exam. So a lot of things you'll find a lot of blogs already example, but it also helps on your roundedness to show you're interested in the topic that you've just passed, and it's good for sort of external verification that you know what you're doing. As again, there, do not state what's in the exam. That's against the attendance, and you also stand a risk of having your certification removed. So that's it. That's all the steps to success, and then enjoying the success after with what actions you can do after. Thanks for listening.